Hello everybody and welcome back. I am Mr. JP and the game, as you can see, is out of ore. And so yeah, heading up the ranks slowly but surely. Things have got a bit crazy there really, nearly at the end of that. So yeah, sat around last night thinking about it, decided to keep the roof on this place for the moment. And I'm going to blow another chunk out of this, so let's do that. Quickly blast out all of this wall. Excuse me there. Oh. It's going to be a bit of production from that. So yeah, thanks for joining me, everybody, by the way. Big thank you to all of the viewers and subscribers out there. I was looking at some of the arrangement of countries of people watching. Big up to the USA. Quite a few of you guys over there. A few guys in Australia. A few guys all over the place. UK, obviously. So yeah, thanks everybody for liking, subscribing and viewing. Appreciate your efforts, really do. So yeah, today it's all about the tunnelling, going underground. Eventually I need to get into this wall on this side and get into these coal seams properly, because they appear to be huge. But yeah, tunnelling. How to drill this trench. I'm getting a fair amount of lag out of this. Something's going on. Little bit jerky on the gameplay. Maybe I've got too many machines out and about, or too many conveyors laid out. There is a lot of conveyors. But yeah. Yeah, they're all running away nicely. Okay, so tunnelling. This is why we're here. The tunnelling tactics and focus. Okay, first thing about tunneler, doesn't cut into the roof very well at all. It's also slower than hell. You know, just driving around when it's working. It's not exactly a high-speed device, but it does have a couple of useful traits, which demonstrate in a sec. One of them is the ability to cut sideways like that. So what I'm going to do here is just quickly extend these conveyors, like so, and then go in with the tunneler. We've just had another collapse. And because I've still got those conveyors laid out above, it's a bit awkward working down here, stuff raining down. Nightmare, the place keeps on filling up with stuff, so that's why the loader's down here, just to clean all that out. But as you can see, as I drive forward, gently cutting the edge out like that, and it gets you a certain amount of material, and it's handy because you can long wall cut, so you can simulate the kind of cutting machine that you see, the side cutter that runs along in sort of most coal mines with a conveyor behind it, and they let the roof collapse behind it as it goes forward, so they have a set of hydraulic props sort of thing that just creep forward, and off they go. And they just keep on cutting the seam like that. But out of ore doesn't really have those kind of coal seams, I say, as I've just driven past a huge one that's built like that, and I'm still cutting into it, and all of this lovely blue stuff coming out. Just let the autosave run. I think it will still record my voice, but if there's a jump in what I'm saying, that'll be why. So yeah. Taking a while to do the autosave now. I think I may need to delete some of these conveyors and sort my mine out. But yeah, you can keep rolling forward quite well with this, like that. Press spacebar to just stop it pumping stuff out. Switch to the loader. And one trick you can do, if you switch camera to the bucket view, makes life a lot easier. However, you will end up reversing into stuff when focused in that closely, and yeah, it has a tendency to make things a bit wiggly and can make you feel a bit seasick because you're being waved around on the end. It gets worse with excavators, by the way. So yeah, if you suffer rotational vertigo or anything like that, this is bad for you. So I'm sorry guys, sorry to my viewers out there who I know do suffer from those kind of symptoms. This bit of camera work isn't the best, because I've got all of these bits built in around it, But as you cut further through, that becomes less of a problem. So yeah, and you can just sort of drive in and clean up these conveyors. And as you can see, you can push into stonework with loaders, but it's just not very efficient in the material amounts that come out. Getting clapstone works though. As I say, I'm in two mind about that collapse mechanic, I really am. So yeah, you can rip in with a tunneler, or you can rip in with a loader. Doesn't really make a lot of odds. Loader's got its advantages, so does tunneler. Good old British weather, it's gone from sunny to throwing it down in 3 seconds. Gotta love that. Sorry about the interference, by the way, I am investigating it, but it does appear to be some kind of earthing connection inside the case of my computer. I've tried different connections, I've tried different keyboards, I've tried different things. Can't really isolate it. Tried adjusting sound recording levels, but I'm using all standard Windows stuff and Xbox Game Bar, so it's not exactly got much finesse. But yeah, working on all of that kind of thing. I guess the more subscribers I get, the more likely I am that YouTube will pay me, or someone will offer me a job testing computer games, and I'll be able to upgrade all my stuff, which would be kind of cool, since we're reaching the point of technology where an upgrade might be necessary for gaming purposes, which is a nightmare. I thought this machine was going to future-proof me for a bit longer than that, but good old Microsoft Windows 11 security protocols, built-in chips, rah-de-rah-de-rah, I mean, probably going to have to upgrade sooner. Thanks. Yeah. But yeah, tunneling tactics. So this is one method on the conveyor floor. You can use this tunneler and just dump straight into like a dump truck following it. That does work. It's a little slow. It's much like using the excavator and the dumper in the fact that all the time you're driving the dumper, you're not digging. I guess it comes down to roleplay and realism. Realistically, having a machine that dumps out into a conveyor that runs up and out the mine isn't that unrealistic. That's how they do it. So yeah. Just keep digging into this rock face here, see how far this coal extends, and the answer is a fair distance, which is nice. And we need to get a fair distance into this hill now, for sure. Decided I'm going to stop cutting wide. I think it's a mistake until I get the concrete in. Love the way that the rocks ping off the belt. I wish they did it off the whole thing. Slowly creeping over and falling off into the conveyor belts. So, as I say, working on conveyors, the advantage, stuff out the roof that falls on you doesn't build up so badly. You still get a certain amount, as you can see, coming through the conveyors. And the driller, as it crosses the joints in the conveyors, that tends to be where the build-up starts, you see? So there's obviously a little gap there, and then it just continues as you move forward in the big chain behind you. But some of it's going into the conveyor and some of it's building up, so realistically, you're still winning. You're still winning. That's the main thing here. So yeah, I'm just going to dig all the way in like this. Don't mind the build-up, because I'm going to blow up with the loader in a sec. That, however, is a problem. So I'm going to back that out a little bit. Going on this side again. And you can sort of get a bit of steering out of this vehicle by holding the direction and pressing forward repeatedly and tapping it, but it's not very effective. It's really slow. Quite often I drive by just moving the head around and the vehicle sort of follows where the head goes. That can work for you. So yeah, this is drilling. It's pretty dull. You drive forward into the rock face and cut. That's bad. So we'd be doing that, so we won't do that yet. Sometimes you have to reverse over these with the bucket down to clean the joints. Sometimes it just comes right out on the poured pass. Just a little bit awkward. As I say, shouldn't have cut so wide, should cut in line with the conveyor edge, but yeah, deal with it. Live and learn, right? But yeah, the tunnelling machine is a force multiplier. It's not a profit maker in itself, though. It's putting a certain amount onto my XP bar all the time from what's going into the conveyors. So yeah, it's effective as a form of mining. I prefer using it off of a wider conveyor floor and going out sideways, but I'll demonstrate that either another time or in a couple of minutes from another location. Yeah, I just want to get in under here so that I can demonstrate the next bit of this build, really, because how you do this is kind of important. There's an order to stuff when building conveyor belts, and if you don't follow it, you get gaps and craziness going on. Can I get out of here? Yep. If you need to lift the tracks to get over an object, you can just jam like the head of the miner into the ceiling and lift the back end. And that gets you out of a bit of trouble in those situations. Kind of handy. And then what we're going to do, just go in here again with the mining head and take out what collapsed, because it's going to be annoying otherwise. And because I'm doing this, I can actually pretty much drop the head as we go off the end of the conveyors, and it should sort of cut into the floor a bit more, hopefully help prevent the clogging down here later on. There we go again. I wonder if I can drive over that. Who knows? And this is why I prefer the circular head without the square casing on it, because you can actually drill in along these edges and stuff quite nicely. It's a much better sculpting tool than this one. This one cuts a nice channel though, which is why I'm using it down here. So yeah, I've got those out. Stick these in. And as you can see, you can get quite a distance ahead of your rig like this. Best to turn it off when you're moving around, you get a much faster pace out of it as well. So that's why you're seeing me jam the head into the wall there and get nowhere. It's because it was off. You turn it off and on with spacebar, by the way. By default the arrow keys move the head around. Don't know whether in the public version it's got a thing where that was reversed like an aircraft, but it's in the settings, you can adjust it. There's not much to say about drilling. It's drilling. It's what it is. But when you get a collapse on you like that, back up so you don't get walled in by the floor reforming. If you're not on the conveyors, it's pretty much a trick. You can use blockwork and flooring in one of these setups if you don't want to use conveyors. Load into the dumpers, and if it overflows onto the flooring, it generally doesn't build through, or it never used to. I haven't tried it actually in this newer version, so I will be at some point when I start role playing. There'll definitely be some of that. So the experiment will be done. We're not neglecting anything. Yeah, just keep on chewing is the trick with this, just like the strip mining really. You just sort of have to keep going at it. It's slow, but this is what opens up the strip mine. So as a profit multiplier, it's sick. And it gets you through the map, gets you drilling in. I started in a valley. There must be a valley ahead of me somewhere where I'll break out eventually. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? It's a big place. I've heard different specs for the sizes. I think 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers was mentioned as the size for the map. I'm not sure I believe it. But we'll find out at some point. If we keep going in the same direction with the tunnel, it's going to happen. We're going to know. Lots of people shouting outside in the road now. Always fun and games when you live near a junction. Yeah, pure chaos sometimes. Pure chaos. Always entertaining. I love a bit of chaos. Can't beat it. Value for money. Sheer entertainment. It's cheaper than the sky, right? But yeah, so once you've made a load of these piles, just go in with the loader. And as I say, you can use the underground loader, you can use a 200 or a 300, you can use this. You can come in with a 1600 or even the bigger 2300. You can do the same trick, but you might need a wider run, considering the bucket on the big one's 3 or 4 wide. So yeah, it just depends how big you want your tunnels. If you want that kind of tunnel look like that sitting in there at the moment everywhere, you're going to be stuck with the tunneling gear. But you can get a big loader under where the tunneler goes, so that's kind of handy. Almost built for it. So yeah. And then it's just a matter of going in and taking out some of the roof. So the roof's about to be on the floor, not on fire. So taking the roof out on bucket cam can really make you feel ill. Like, I don't suffer that badly with motion sickness, it makes me feel giddy, so I feel sorry for you guys, sorry about that one. Bad as in space engineers. When I decide to start doing things whilst upside down and stuff, bad news for filming, really is. So yeah, in we go. Keep on cutting. I mean, there's a lot of coal. There's a lot of coal down here, that's kind of nice. We like a lot of coal. As I say, build up on the conveyors really doesn't bother me because I just go in and scrape it again with the load. And yeah, load and scrape, load and scrape. It's a bit of a bane with the camera work and the conveyors when you're doing this, when you're near where you've been working like that. However, when stuff collapses and you've just driven under the conveyors, it is kind of convenient. So yeah, it's a double-edged thing, that one. Just let me go in and clean up the floor again. And by reversing with the blade down, you also will generate stuff like that, as you saw. And it comes out the edges. It comes out of the floor gaps between the conveyors, and you're just taking the peaks off of what's below the conveyor, really, effectively, when you go along doing that. This is where blasting definitely has the advantage in the stonework. I can still get the coal out from up here before I blast, so that's what I'm going to do. There we go. Started cutting again, that's nice. And as I say, using the tunneler, this method of mining, it's not very efficient. As you can see, it does sort of delete a lot of the material as you dig it out. You have to keep emptying your bucket, that kind of thing. But it does net you a certain amount of stuff going through your machines. I think I made the first 22 levels on this machine before even hitting the stonework, so it does work. It's just dull. This is the repetitive work of the game, as it were. The grind in digging out your mines. But it depends what you're going for with the game as well, how you're using it. Currently I'm just beating the tier system, is the idea. And I wanted to go into this hill all the way through testing, but between versions we never really got enough time to, in career mode, do that kind of thing without going crazy with the explosives. And that leaves a certain effect that I didn't want. So to do it this way takes quite a bit of effort and time, but is quite rewarding in financial stuff coming in. Just clean that out a bit more. Oh, yeah. See what I mean about how it can be a little bit awkward to dig just into raw sort of rock. It's not even letting me get at the coal there, so give up on that. Bark up the machine. Ooh, that was a dodgy jump out into a wall, which isn't the best of moves. Just so you know. I'm gonna leave the blasting. No, I won't leave the blasting. I'll do some blasting, since I think I can get away with it. Along that section. I think we got away with that one. I didn't cover the machines in it, so that's the main thing. Going along the bottom first. It seems very repetitive and slow and long-winded, but keeping these conveyors down on this level clear, unless you've gone in and dug deeper, is essential. If you've got airspace underneath, like in the section behind us, then you no longer have a problem, because it won't clog. But until you're at that state, you'll always have cleaning troubles on top of conveyors. It's something that I was thinking about using the grader for. I need to experiment with that though, I haven't tried it out. Back cut a little of the ceiling out there, a little bit more. Essentially I want the ceiling cut out to the height of where that concrete tile is, so there we go. The other side looks like it might be okay, but now that I'm parked back here, I'm going to blow it anyway. Yeah, I'm one of those people who is actually just waiting for the government to give me permission to blow stuff up and not get locked up for it. So I think we're called patriots. Vigilantes, or nutcases, as the case may be. Militants. Depends who you are. Like, if you're a Russian invader, you're going to call us the Nightmare. But yeah. All those people just sitting around waiting for the government to say it's okay to draw cartoons. Or pretend to be Iron Man, whichever. We'll see how it goes. I've got a feeling it's not going to go down that way. But, yeah. It's a nice little dream, and that's what it appears to be, or a fantasy in the Western media at the moment. All crazy chaos. I stay away from it as much as I can. Every time I look at it, it's bad news. Flooding here, wildfires there. Like, feeling a bit bad for Canada. That stuff looks a bit nasty. There's a couple of islands that have burned. Is it Maui? Yeah. Either way, like, planet's on fire. What's going on? Someone turn the oven up on the solar system? Like, because I gotta say, like, global warming, all well and good, but what's the background temperature of the solar system? Because if that's getting hotter, you're never gonna keep the goldfish bowl cold in the oven. You know what I'm saying? But, you know. It's something that the physicists and stuff, you know, energy coming out of the sun and stuff, once you start factoring that in, the global warming argument gets really complicated. So yeah, had a lot of fun with a couple of my friends who like discussing that one. So get some concrete wall bits, get some concrete roof bits. I started just buying everything in 99s. It's easier. So I will just build the top line in for the moment. I was going to build it all the way down, but I don't think there's any point. He says as it starts raining stuff again. So, won't build that too close, because if I need to get in with a loader, just best to have a bit of clearance. That one can stay. Can I even see to attach them? The answer is not safely. So I'm going to have to go and walk the edge, which it's always entertaining. But easier. Much easier. It always amazes me. My life's really quiet. I only have 2 or 3 friends, and they always seem to message me when I'm filming on for YouTube. Because that was the Discord bleep. But it might mean there's an update for this game, so that'd be kind of cool too. Like I'm not knocking these things, and I do like my friends, so I may not have many of them, but I do like the ones I have. It might be because, yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. I'll leave that one to the social scientists. Can't really say I study social stuff because I'm pretty antisocial. I'm a computer gamer, come on. Cut me some slack. So yeah, effectively what I need to do now is get that blown away and clean that out if I want to extend much further than here. But it does mean I can extend to there. Yeah, I'm going to do it that way. So, to send vehicles to the garage, go to the map and click send to garage and send to garage. Hey, voila, they're gone. I'm going to erase everything I've built down here. This is the next phase, and it involves deleting what you've done, pretty much. So, and as you can see, the floor that's left underneath is damaged by the driller at the front there, but where the loader's been over it, it's really smooth. So if you want to build a nice area that's smooth and stuff to construct or roll as a work yard, this conveyor method is a great way of leveling something easily without getting into GPS and site work and lines of sight and references, and yeah, it's a lot easier. So yeah, just demolish that, go along here, build these in, and you have a clog-proof hopper system, effectively, until you get near a corner, or unless it builds up on these lips. But I have a way of cleaning those, and pretty much you go in with the miner on this floor, and with the head set sideways, how I showed, you can cut along, and it leaves this nice, clean little, this step is the miner running along here. And you can see it runs all the way down at that line, and I did the same thing along that edge, and it cleans out just enough for your conveyors to stay clear, which is really useful. Like I'm not even going to get into how useful that is. It's very useful, like excessively so, like dangerously so. But yeah, later on you just build another set of ramps down and go in again. So yeah. It from here on it gets pretty industrial, because the natural number is now millions. But the extension of that takes a little while. Been doing it for half an hour, and I've got what, 4 or 5 conveyor lengths forward. However, by doing so, you can bring in a big machine up here and just push stuff into the gully, and that advantage is huge. You could also use the driller at this point and drill into this wall and start long walling. There's a few different things you can do here, but this is one of my more favourite. I just love pushing stuff off of there into the ditch. It pleases me immensely, can't tell you why. But it opens a window into the mind of those parrots that like pushing stuff off of worktops, and the cats. Maybe it's just the love of seeing things fall. Maybe might be why I like watching base jumping videos. Because you're basically watching a video where someone could have an accident. That's not very nice, but it's just the fact that they just go, they just disappear off the edge. Boom, gone. Like for better or for worse, whatever, gone. Which is pretty much the case with the mapping out of ore. It better for worse, this stuff is out of here, and there's pretty much an infinite amount of stuff around, multiple seams left, right, and centre to work. So realistically, like, there's no shortage of stuff through here. But judging from what I've uncovered so far, the other side is where I should be working. Like, over here is really it's not a waste of time, but it isn't where I should be working. That's for sure. That face over there should be what I'm taking out. Now, I really should start role-playing and piling up some piles of different materials in different places, just to see what the different textures look like up near the coal mine, coal plant rather, which is sort of the after level 70 sort of thing. Can't really see which level I'm at now. That looks like it might be 66. Could be 68 though. Don't know. I would have to adjust transparencies to see what on earth is going on there. I have a recording screen over that corner of the screen. I can see the money and that's it. So as long as that's ticking up, I know the conveyors are working. See the XP bar below it as well, but only the green bit. So yeah, that's my problem. Whoa, that's a bigger problem. Don't do that. Don't fall off stuff in the big loaders, by the way. Can be really difficult to recover. Like, the small loaders are a problem as well, but yeah, that was about to get fun. Going over here instead. take out some of that stuff that I blasted at the start of the video. Which, go see, video's gone a full circle. But yeah, when you've got a bucket full of stuff, it seems to cut out the ceiling better where it's not blasted, by the way. So one trick you can try is make sure you're making a cut and then go into the stone. And because you're already cutting, it sort of cuts anyway. Yeah. I'm still loving the game, by the way. I'm sorry I'm a little bit quiet and uncreative in conversation. I think I need to go out and socialise and just get a little bit of stimulation. Friend came over yesterday, that was good. Chatted about some stuff, but mainly Space Engineers over out of ore, which is bad. Should be out of ore. Because he's playing and I'm playing, and you should be playing too, by the way. Buy the game. If you haven't bought the game, I'm telling you, you should own it, because it's going to develop. And you have a developer who believes in looking after his customers. Out of Ore developed from another game called Bergsbrook, for those who are interested in a bit of the history of the game. And Bergsbrook was meant to be a multiplayer mining sim. Unfortunately, multiplayer assets and Steam appeared to be problematic. Space Engineers has fallen foul of it. Railroads Online has fallen foul of it, and so I believe, because I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was probably a similar kind of problem with the multiplayer aspects of Out of Ore, in the fact that Steam Protocol just isn't very good for multiplayer stuff, for the networking. So, to get around that, Bergsbrook was shelved, which, to be fair, it wasn't at that advanced stage of development. It was playable, but not that hot, in my opinion. However, Out of Ore was provided to those who bought Bergsbrook for free, which I think was really good of the developer. Shows great confidence in his own product as well, that he doesn't want to milk the money for the second time round. From what was not essentially a mistake, because it's not his fault, but marketing-wise, relying on something that isn't there for the future is a bit of a dodgy ground. So, yeah, either way, it generates a lot of loyalty from your fans, as it were. Something that other developers haven't done, and I've mentioned one of the games that the solo developer is a bit like that, but that game is also developing as well. That's got apparently another investor going into it, so hopefully we'll be able to do some videos from that, see some more of them out, that kind of thing. Just to vary up the content, really. I know everybody loves Out of Ore, but I should really put more strings to my channel. 100 subscribers, things developing, got to keep it a bit more professional, I guess. Well, maybe not. Professionalism's alright, but being a child occasionally is worthwhile. It's good for the soul. So yeah, never resist the childish instinct to do something silly as long as it's not at anyone else's expense. Because I've seen a few pranks recently on in the mainstream media that were covered, or even on YouTube, and there's a fair risk to the public's health in what they did. The Trevor Jacob incident probably is the ultimate pinnacle example of that, but in smaller ways, there's still as dangerous things being done every day, and doing stuff just for likes should be innocent stuff. It shouldn't involve other members of the public, and definitely shouldn't involve risking, well, as in Trevor Jacob's case, dropping a light aircraft onto an open area with no idea who's there. As I said about wildfires earlier, an air crash is a good way to start a wildfire. So crashing something in a parkland area deliberately for a video without any permissions or ground team on standby or anything like that is going the wrong side of ridiculous, in my opinion. But perhaps Brits are known for being a bit more staid in what they do. Then again, there was 3 Brits on the Ocean Gate submarine, so maybe we're not. Natural born risk takers, maybe, just maybe. Something to do with living on an island, you know. You can't get away from this place without like taking a risk on the sea anyway. I think there's a wartime video called Know Your Allies that was released by the American government for their troops that came over to the UK, And the one about the Brits is really funny. It's inherently racist and absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it pretty much sums British people up quite well. If you ever want an explanation of the British, I recommend that one. And it's quite comedy because it's like racism isn't comedy, but in this case it is because it's not really racism. It's just white people on white people, and you can't have a go for that one, can you? Can you? Um, I don't know. I'm not politically correct. I'm no good at it. I seem to insult people by just opening my mouth on any subject. So why worry? Pretty sure there's several people out there who hate me several times a day just to keep their average up. But yeah, it's hilarious. Know your allies. Don't be fooled by his polite debonair, I remember was one of those lines. These people are tougher than you think. And then it goes into the reasons why, and it's absolutely hilarious. It made me laugh my socks off. Really did. Really did. Definitely worth 20 minutes of your life if you can catch that one. But yeah, there's also some pretty cool mining videos out there with some of the machines working. Well, it's worth a little bit of light research. Don't take everything you see on there to heart. But yeah, good bit of fun. Some of the things that are out there that were deadly serious at the time, but you look at them now and it's like, oh, yeah, not worn well, not aged well. There's a few things that haven't aged well. Madonna. So yeah, I mean, digging, tunneling wise, tunneler or loader, it's a 50-50. It really is. I'm undecided on which is the more efficient method. Roleplay wise, the tunneler's obviously got it. Efficiency wise, loaders and conveyor floors have got it. Using the tunneler, clearing up with a loader, putting it into a dumper, running it through. You're just processing the stuff 3 or 4 times for the same amount of profit. I try and avoid in all of my working whilst doing this any kind of double shifting. I like it to be in the bucket and then into the processor and gone. The moment you start driving dumpers, you're not digging. If you're blasting, you're not digging, you know. If you're not digging, you're not digging. So machines with bigger fuel tanks are used because that means they have to refuel less often. In the same way as railway locos just got bigger, so they could do bigger distances and haul bigger loads. Same deal. Whole point of mining is to get a lot of stuff into your machinery, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm going to finish off this section anyway, just because there might be something more in this corner. And it seems like the deeper into the rock, the more profit I'm making. More rich stuff there is. But I'm not convinced about that. So we'll see. We'll see how that sort of goes. But yeah, you can see I'm coming off the conveyor floor there, and that's where the dirt starts to reform. This is where long walling with the tunneler, you drive along the line of the conveyors with the head angled over and just build the conveyors in as you go along behind you, sort of thing, and then go reverse up and do it again. And yeah, you can cut a convincing sort of long wall mine that way. You know, from the role play aspect, the material it earns you, yeah, it's good, but a load is going to eat it alive, you know. It's that shower of stuff out the ceiling that the tunneler can't beat. You can just reverse around everywhere with your bucket up and stuff just keeps falling out like that, by the way. It's a method. Just keep going in. And just keep on cutting till you see the pink of the stone again, and then just blast it all away again. Rinse and repeat, I believe, is the modern term for that one, right? Rinse and repeat. So yeah. Yeah, that should help prevent a bit of the build-up when I bring the top down. But for the moment, I'll just go in a little bit further because I can now. There's the first one without an extra one. Find out what level I'm at in a minute. I mean, the level up gear has already been dug. I could stop digging and we'd level up, but yeah, one more level to go. Okay, yeah, it was 68. For all you children out there, you can quit giggling, like quit giggling right now. Not having it, not having it. Oh, we all love the joke. Come on now. So yeah, I'm nearly there on level ups, which is good. Let's cut some of that ceiling out, like that. Go in and cut out some more ceiling. And watch as the floor builds up to something I can't roll over. Clean that out. Try again. So yeah, there's a few different methods you can use. You can drive along the bucket at a set height, just keep going backwards and forwards until you cut up to the full reach. Can be a bit awkward sometimes that way, can be a bit awkward sometimes this way. Starting from the top down might be the easiest way instead of going in at the bottom of the hill like I have. Yeah, something for my next mine. That got well and truly stuck in that hole as the ground built up under the tyres pushed it against the back wall. I'm lucky I got out of that without rescuing the vehicle. Rescue me, etc, etc. More riches. And this is what I mean, I glanced away from that level up bar and it's already significantly bigger than it was. So yeah, you can cut into the wall and just steer away and dump out onto whole conveyors quite easily. Just cut, turn, brings it mainly out of your bucket onto the whole conveyors. So that works quite well. Getting onto a diagonal angle to the conveyors can work because they're built sort of on that kind of an angle. So you can cut the pointy 90-degree here can be cut off if I can get the loader out of the hole. There we go. Let's try my driving. So yeah, you can just run along on this angle and you can just slowly, gently carve your way into the corner and just push it out onto the whole conveyors, because some of these conveyors are a little short, so it will build up into turf again. Turf, ground. It's only turf when it's topsoil and it goes green, which had happened in the middle of these conveyors before now from the ceiling, which was kind of confusing. But yeah, trees will always regrow from topsoil, so if you get topsoil in your mine down here, and there was a tree there, it would regrow, but the trees are set a lot higher up than that, so it should be alright. That's what I mean by sometimes the ceiling can be a bit of a trouble to rip out. There's a set of spikes just there. I managed to reverse rip them away, but sometimes the reverse rip just won't touch the ceiling. Likewise, going forward into it just won't have it. Get out the TNT or the RDX or the M4 and just blast the hell out of it. There's no other way to go about it. It's a bit like dealing with, you know, Somali pirates. Grab the water cannons, blast the hell out of them. Funny thing about the water cannon thing, if a water cannon were to catch an RPG round, it would explode early and probably would prevent a fair amount of damage. So that spray of water may act in multiple ways. It'd be an interesting study. Give you an excuse to play with a load of live RPG rounds as well. If you're that way inclined, because I kind of am. I like blowing things up. I really do. That's why I like the blasting method in At War. It's great. Like, finally a game with explosives that work in a fairly realistic fashion. Even if they're not working on real physics, they're at least the rules that they're working under are a bit more realistic than a lot of situations in computer games with explosives. The fact they don't damage you is kind of convenient, but I'm sure we'll get around to health kits and eye wash stations and stuff like that in the future. Depends. I don't know which way the game's going to go yet. There's a poll out there for how long you think it takes to get through the levelling and everything that came up the other day, which is quite interesting. I think it came on yesterday. So if you are playing and you've got opinions, or if you've watched me play and you think, crikey, he got through that tier system quickly, bear in mind that if you want to play with the big bits that are at the end of the tier system, you want to be able to get there, right? So, like, there's a lot of people out there who seem to want the grind level to be excessively hard in every game they play, but sometimes you've got to accept it's just a bit of fun. At the moment, there might be maps where the grind will be turned up for you guys in the future, who knows? Grind has been discussed quietly in the test forums, but yeah, some people weren't open to that conversation. And other times it's been referenced there's not enough grind to grind. Yeah, it's a difficult one. Everyone's got a different opinion. Everyone's got a different opinion. I'm in two minds about it at the moment. I think there should be a hard mode that makes it incredibly difficult to get up the tier tree. But at the same time, that should be attached to an online leaderboard so that everyone can compete. Because that's competitive play. Like turning up the grind is people who want competitive play. And competitive play is coming, hopefully. It's been joked about, but don't quote me on that one because I have no factual knowledge. But I think competitive play is where this has got to go. Some kind of online leaderboard to just show like who's mined the most in certain maps or something would be a good start. Just to get a little bit of, I guess once again it's about audience participation, isn't it? That's what multiplayer computer gaming is about in some ways. It's definitely what esports are about. Everybody loves watching it and thinking, yeah, I could do that. I can play that game that well, you know. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. Hoping it's going to go ahead faster than a lot of the other early dev games I've played, because it's a lot of fun. Let's be honest. Just how much stuff is pouring through these machines. Yeah, a reasonable amount. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Let's go up here. Yeah, that's pretty crazy amounts. That's good. Wish I knew what it was, but collecting it up and actually seeing what it is, that's once you're no longer leveling up what goes through the grating, selling it out of the containers or selling it up here really doesn't matter, because up here it's just 1.5% on the 1.5 times on the XP. So yeah, that's where my loader's parked. So we've gone a fair distance in. That must be that big coal seam. So there's more big coal seam there. I know there's more big coal seams in here, and they're in line with that one. So yeah, okay, maybe I will keep extending this side. See how that goes. So yeah, I mean, this is where I've got to so far. Not much development decoratively, but the mine is definitely getting a lot bigger. And by a lot bigger, I didn't realise until I came back over here for fuel. And then I sort of looked into it. And when you sort of start standing here and looking around, it's getting pretty large. The view along the corridor is getting a bit, We need some binoculars to see a vehicle down there, people. So yeah, but these cuts are a great way to see what's in the map. You can look into the ceiling and know that's there, that's there. Start relating terrain features to the kind of outputs. You see occasional patches of stuff and rich materials. Yeah, it's pretty handy. Pretty handy. Being able to reach the ceiling with explosives is also pretty handy. And that's where these big machines are kind of useful, because you can just walk all over them and pop stuff onto the ceiling, which is useful. I always recommend everybody to reverse the machine away from what you're about to blow up over your head. It's kind of a good health and safety practice to reverse machines to a safe distance. You know, they're expensive and everything. More material. Whoa. But quite often doing that can create surges of material as well. So it's pretty cool. Pretty funky. Occasionally when you detonate like that in pay dirt, you get massive surges of dirt that can flog coppers. There's a few things that can go on that I've had a laugh with before now. I've seen these piled up with balls out the top. There's been a few things going on. It takes a while for that stuff that's just been dropped in to come through, doesn't it? Have I clogged it? Is it all just sat in a pile on the conveyors waiting for a loader? Who knows? Is it clogged? No, there it goes. No? What? Seriously? Like, seriously? Oh, okay, so this is what just got blown. Yeah. The delay on that is huge. That's pretty impressive amount of delay there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, if you survived the hour, well done. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate that. Appreciate all the likes and subscriptions as well, all of you subscribers. Yeah, significantly past 100 now. It's no longer 101, it's like 104. So, yeah, the ball is rolling. I'm working on the creativity of things to build. Perhaps I should prop this lot in and put a roof over it. Perhaps I should do the same to the conveyor. Don't know. All about currently this big hole, and taking it out on that side would be a good idea. That might be the place to start. So yeah, might even be able to get it in with this floor in place, but definitely take out some of it. Okay, right. Well, reaching the end of the hour, so I better stop filming before it cuts me off. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Look after yourselves and have a great day. Bye for now.